saying it's a bad article. And don't get me wrong.
And there are legitimate things, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
I read you the verbatim quote.
All right, Alex is trying to make
And I was trying to be unbiased by saying the reporter... I was trying to be unbiased by saying the reporter could have misinterpreted it.
Alex is trying to make this into a debate that's not even going to happen.
What? I worked for this guy.
I know.
So I'm very upset that he would say this.
I'm saying you're trying to make a debate between the two of us whether we should have used this.
Oh, yeah, I am. Why not use it? It's important.
No, I agree that we should use it, but I'm just...
You should know, because KCRG is going to bury this. Go ahead.
Okay, let's just go on. Google is at it again with their attempts at controlling your internet. As you guys know, no, it's true. It makes sense. Listen,
great, go ahead. What is a previous one?
Google in China has actually blocked certain words from any web page containing those words are blocked.
And you look up Tiananmen Square and it's of children playing.
Yeah. So Google will do these kind of things, but now they're actually helping big media news organizations like News Corp, which is Rupert Murdoch's company. They're going to start limiting free access to news. Like if you go to, I believe it'll probably start with like national newspapers like New York Times, New York Post.
I thought they were only doing it with News Corp stuff. So
no, he was just the one that's
interviewed. Journal and the New York Post.
Well, the Wall Street Journal's already like that, but that's through their own. But even what's gonna happen is if you go to a newspaper like the New York Times, U.S. Today, which is free online to read anything, versus like a Wall Street Journal, which you have to pay for to read most of the articles. Google will actually start making you subscribe to that web page, to that company's web or to the web version of their newspaper by limiting the amount of articles you could read in a day. So if this were to actually come into being big, right now this comes to us from BBC, so it may only be in
well, I know News Corp is going to do this.
Well, anyway, what's going to happen is Google is going to limit the articles you can see. So like if you go to New York Times and you click 5 different articles, when you click the 6th to read the 6th article, it'll take you to a completely different page saying you must subscribe to see this. Mm-hmm. And this isn't like a law or anything. This is just them trying to fight back the backfire from these news organizations that are saying that they're stealing their profits. So do you think that this is a good idea to limit the number of articles that people can read?
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate thing to do because you've got to save these newspapers. I think it's newspapers that are the legitimate, like when people talk about journalism checking government, it's not TV journalism. It is newspapers. When you go to read online content, that is a newspaper journalist, which people tend to forget when they're just like, oh, we don't really need newspapers. I read my stuff online. Well, they're the ones who are writing it. So, yes, charge away. That's my opinion. But I'm also, I've worked at a newspaper, and I'm a journalism major, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
But I think, yes, charge away because they're crucial to the American, just to the style of government. You have to have these people.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Most of the topics I find come from newspapers. I don't really watch TV news because it's just so biased and
ridiculous.
Yeah, but the point is, it comes down to the fact that news reporting is a business. People that do it need to make money. Journalists need to make money, and they're doing this as a job to make money. So you can't provide all this content for free. Like I like reading all these newspapers for free, but there has to be some money made somewhere, and ads can only support so much.
Yeah, that model has failed.
It hasn't failed. It just isn't as profitable as they thought it was.
So it failed. If it can't pay for the paper, then it failed. Like Times laid off like 600 journalists. Christian Science Monitor is down to weekly paper. They're falling apart. Denver only has one paper. I think Seattle only has one paper now. So yes, it has failed. I'm going to go ahead and just tell you that.
All right. That's fine. I'll take your opinion on that. I do like allowing some free content. I do like that. And I'm assuming they'll work with places like universities and schools to allow unlimited free content. I'm
sure there'll be a fee.
I don't know. I think they'll do it for universities and schools.
I think the Wall Street Journal will have a fee.
Well, the Wall Street Journal has a fee already.
Yeah, I was going to say anything that News Corp owns is going to charge for everything.
Yeah, I do like how there is some free content. I like that better than the strictly all pay content, because there are some news articles that you need to be able to read. And don't confuse this with your local news stations putting web content up. That will still be free. It'll be like big newspaper companies like the Des Moines Register.
Well, at first.
At first, yeah.
At first, and then I think your local ones will if they're owned by a major corporation, because most are.
I wouldn't anticipate the fee to be too huge, would you?
Like the Gazette. Well, no. It'll be the same fee for like having a paper. It'll be never mind.
It's got to be less than that.
It'd be quite a bit less. Thinking about it, but other than like the Gazette, because that's locally owned, but the Press Citizen, I mean, they're the smaller papers that are owned by a major corporation. If it works for the big ones, they'll probably try it. I can't imagine that working as well, though.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm afraid of. Do you think people are going to pay the subscription, or are they just going to stop caring about the news and just watch more TV news because it's free?
I think that, especially with the like if you can look at some stories and it kind of tempts you, I think that's good marketing. And I think that people will pay. I think once you're probably not students, it'll hinder us quite a bit. So hopefully you can get it somehow. If they work out something with the university, either there's a fee the university has to pay, or they do it for free if they're feeling very generous and they feel that it's a noble enough cause. Mm-hmm. But like for if you're middle aged, I think you pay. I could completely imagine paying to read the Wall Street Journal if the content's worth it, and you have to prove the content's worth it.
Yeah,
so
I don't.
But that's why those 5 articles need to be allowed.
I personally, I don't. As much as I watch the news, I'd have a tough time justifying spending that much money to see news content. I honestly would.
Like $1 a month.
I think it'd be a lot higher than that. I think it'd probably be like $10 a month. Okay. For not per site, but for like every news organization that News Corp owns, or every, like a local pass to like KCRG, KWWL, and stuff like that. I just have a tough time justifying that. I had to see the prices first, but I don't know.
I think people will, because I think if it works for News Corp, because they're going to be the first ones, if it works for them, everybody's going to do it, and you're going to need your news. Otherwise, you're just going to be an idiot. And
it's true.
And usually people don't want to appear to be an idiot, so they at least want to pretend to know what's going on. Well, and TV news kind of can do that, but national TV news does not do that. I mean, it's just watching CNN now is like watching SportsCenter. It's the same 4 or 5 stories, major stories, over and over and over, unless something happens. Unless coincidentally an athlete shoots someone, and then it's probably on both channels.
Yeah,
or an athlete gets shot. That's like the only time I can recall seeing breaking news, unless a coach has been fired.
All right, let's play a song for him.
All right, let's do this. Be back right after this. All right, welcome back to Informavores. I'm Alex Schumann, and I'm here with my co-host Marcus Rippentrop. For our next topic, we are going to discuss an article by Andy Sewer of Times Magazine, and it was the cover of Times last week, and it's called "The Decade of Hell from Hell." Decade from Hell. And he kind of begins. I'll just read you part of it. At exactly 2 minutes after midnight on January 1st, 2000, an alarm sounded at a nuclear power plant in whatever in Japan, and government officials and computer scientists around the globe held their breath. And it wasn't the it wasn't the Y2K meltdown. And he goes on later to say, instead, it was the American dream that was about to dim. Bookended by 9/11 at the start and a financial wipeout at the end. The first 10 years of this century will very likely go down as the most dispiriting and disillusioning decade Americans have lived through in the post-World War II era. Do you agree?
No.
Why?
This is the most cynical and just absolutely negative view of this decade. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad stuff, but bookended by 9/11. So what happened for the first year? Nothing, apparently. He mentions 5 or 6 huge, terrible, negative things.
Well, yeah.
But he doesn't talk about anything positive. Are you telling me that nothing good happened for the American dream in 10 years? This guy is a cynic and just an absolute negative person.
As I recall, after 9/11, after we survived the recession of 2001, we had the largest growth we've ever seen in history. And more people owned homes than ever before. And it's excess, and people didn't deserve those homes. But last I checked, that was considered success. We've seen incredible things. He lists countless things that go wrong. However, I can only name 2 major things that happened. And that is 9/11 and then the financial crisis.
Crises.
So there's
crises,
3. Excuse me.
There you go.
But we will see. Yes, we have 2 wars, but there have been worse decades. I would look back and I would argue, and he doesn't even consider that. He doesn't even go back and compare it to other decades.
He finds there's no relativeness at all. He just names how